Zack Snyder's Man of Steel gave us hope and strength. And today, with Superman 2025 really doing well, fans are now asking, did we lose all that? Have we been betrayed? What is next for the Man of Steel, for Superman? So, with Zack Snyder, so many people loved what this version of Superman became. What made it so special? Well, a couple different things. It was like, let's not beat around the bush here. Superman, Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's Superman was dark. He had a dark tone. It was a serious world. It was set in that kind of a world. There was not a lot of humor. It was a very serious take on something that we haven't seen a very serious take on in maybe ever. Superman 1978 with Christopher Reeve, sure, it wasn't the 1966 Batman, but it was not a serious take on the Man of Steel, right? Of course, there was a much more serious tone to it than we had seen in superhero iterations before, but there was still a bit of humor, slapstick even, and just a lot of fun, right? It was a family movie. So when Zack Snyder sort of came out with Man of Steel, it was something that we had not seen before. It was a fresh take. It was a dark take. It was a gritty take. And I know that those words get used often and, in the wrong sense of it. I mean, dark not only in the sense of the lighting, but dark, it was the less fun version of Superman. And that's not to say that it was a bad thing. I think there were a lot of stakes in the Man of Steel. I think there were a lot less relationship building moments. That said, there were relationship building moments. It was just different. It was not moments that we had gotten into in terms of we've been with these people before. It was just right away. We didn't get a chance to sit in much. In Man of Steel, he became the Man of Steel. I mean, sure, we saw him growing up, and there was a lot of relationship building between young Clark and his parents, but it became all of a sudden, here I am, I've got to save the world, Zod's come down, and this is what we got to do. So it was really, I'm getting the business, and this is how it is. That's what the that's what the Zack Snyder version brought. It was like Superman's getting down to business, and he's got no time to screw around. He's got no time to make light of a lot of things. There's not a lot of humor in it, but it worked, I think, for that version of what they were trying to do. I'm not saying that one is superior than the other, but I'm saying for what Zack Snyder was trying to do, it worked. So there was a lot of emotional involvement. There were a lot of people invested in the story, really wanted to see what was next. I think we really missed out on Man of Steel 2. I think going right from Man of Steel to Batman v Superman to Justice League was a mistake. I think it was a mistake. So I think that we could have gotten more if maybe we had taken a little bit of a different journey. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows what the Warner Brothers execs ultimately wanted to do. But I think that, unfortunately, that's, we got this version, and I don't think that we ever got to see it to come to fruition. And I think that that's what a lot of people are kind of upset about. And I'll get to that in a second. But so, what has changed now with the James Gunn Superman universe, launching off the DCU? So Superman 2025, directed by James Gunn, starring David Corenswet. Well, obviously it's a much different tone. We have not met Superman, as in Superman's not the, it's not an origin story. Superman's been on the job for 3 years, and he's developed relationships with people, and we don't need to see those relationships build because it's assumed, it's seen that they have already been built. So we're seeing these dynamics already. We're seeing the fun. We're seeing the humor. We're seeing these relationships that he's built with, say, Lois or Jimmy or the Justice Gang, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, and we're seeing that bounce off of one another. And it's not so serious. The movie takes its time to have a little fun because it's not, yes, we are rushing into the action, but we're also rushing into the action where Superman has already been. So we can see really what relationships have been and what we can have fun with. So there are a lot more fun moments in this world. Is that a good thing? I don't know. I will say that it is closer to 1978 Christopher Reeve's Superman than it is, obviously, to 2013 Man of Steel, Zack Snyder. Obviously, with everything with the costume, there's a lot of division in that sense already. I mean, a lot of the people think that the Man of Steel / Batman v Superman, basically the Snyderverse Superman suit, is the perfect suit. A lot of people feel that it is the worst suit. A lot of people feel that the David Corenswet suit is the perfect suit. A lot of people feel that it is the worst suit. So there's a lot of division of all different places, right? So it's not just the relationships, it's not just the humor, it's the suit, it's the actors, it's this and that. So there are a lot of things that are coming to fruition that people are just really, really divided on. So what are your thoughts? Do you love this new iteration of Superman? Do you hate it? Comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What is your favorite version? Where do you think James Gunn went wrong? Where do you think he went right? Where do you think Zack Snyder went wrong? Where do you think Zack Snyder went right? And I think a lot of the reason why people are really pissed off is that, especially, and I hate using the Snyder cultist stigma or the label. I think that people can enjoy the Snyderverse and not be like only Snyderverse. Like, it's okay to like multiple versions of Superman. Like, it really is. You can like both. I happen to like both. I like them all. And I think that's okay. If you hate the new Superman solely because you just hate the movie, fine, whatever. Like, you don't have to love it, but don't hate it if you haven't seen it. Don't hate it just because it's not that other version. It's just, if you hate it because it's a poor movie, fine. Like, it's a Superman movie. Never going to be the best movie in the world. So, I think a lot of people are just sad that they never got to see the Snyderverse conclude. They are sad because Henry Cavill was set to play Superman again, and then it was taken away from him. You know, James Gunn obviously sat down with him and said, look, this is what's happening. And, you know, Henry Cavill took it well. He was like, look, that's fine. I want to make the announcement. And so James Gunn was like, yeah, that's fine. You can announce it. So I think a lot of us are sad that we didn't get to see more or see it really conclude, because that would have been great. I think a lot of people are sad because they're so used to seeing that version of Superman. Like, Henry Cavill and David Corenswet are pretty far apart. That said, I don't think it necessarily is a size thing or a hulking thing. I think David Corenswet's a big guy. But I think that they're very different versions. And I think a lot of people look at David Corenswet as more of a childish, boy-like version of Superman than Henry Cavill was, which, fine, I guess, yeah, fine. Like, and that's the thing, we always say that, or I've been saying David Corenswet is still new on the job, so that's going to be him. Really, Henry Cavill, that version of Superman was also new on the job as well. So, it just is what it is. It's just two very, very different takes. But that said, I do still think that this Superman version can work. Here's a couple of reasons why. I think the actors are great. I think the actors do know what the job it is that they're supposed to be doing, and I think they've been cast really well. I think Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor gonna bring a really whole new level to the character. I think this is now, and this is where I think a lot of us like forget to think. We are opening up now future generations to loving this character. Like, this version of Superman is going to be today's generation or tomorrow's generation, their version of Christopher Reeve or their version of Henry Cavill. I think we're launching a different space. We're finding a new demographic or keeping the old demographic, but we're launching it and giving Superman a chance to be relevant again. Now, at the time of this recording, the movie has made over $400 million worldwide. There are estimates that this thing is going to make between 600 and 700 million. And I think that is a pretty good success. I think we have gotten the success that we need to keep Superman going. Because as I said in earlier videos, if this thing flopped, we're not getting a Superman for another like 20 years. It's just not going to happen, I don't think. But I think this movie has done well enough where we're going to see more. And that's the thing. Like, it's doing well. People want Superman. People want to see Superman. So I think that's the thing that we can look forward to, is that this Superman is going to be tomorrow's generation's Superman. And I think that that's okay. I think that that's okay. We can still have Henry Cavill. We can still have Christopher Reeve. It doesn't have to be one or the other. But we can enjoy each version for what they are. So I don't think that this version has gone too far. I really don't. I don't think it's gone too far the other way. I don't think it's going to destroy anything. I think that this is really going to do wonders for what Superman is. A lot of people had said that he's just too far, like, distant from what Henry Cavill is. I think that that's true, but I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. So I really think that this is going to be a good thing for Superman. I think if we can just enjoy it for what it is, I think people are going to have fun. And I think that that's the point of Superman. It's, yes, to give us a symbol of hope. Yes, to give us a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. But it's also just to have some fun. Just to go to movies and have fun. We don't need to see a transcendent like meaning of life in a movie. It doesn't need to be the best movie ever. It just needs to be fun. And that is what I think Superman 2025 is. I think it's fun. And I think it's exciting. And I loved it. And still sitting at my 7, 8 out of 10 review. I really, really did like it. And that's where I'm sticking. So what are your thoughts? Do you think this is what Superman should be? Or do you think that this is the end of the Superman era? The love affair with Superman is over. Let me know. Comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But that's all I wanted to say about that. Look, if you did like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notifications bell, ding, ding, share it with your friends. Do consider becoming a member because it would really help my channel out, and I really appreciate it. Really want to keep bringing you content, talking about Superman, Supergirl, DC, cosplay, pop culture. Got some awesome suit reviews coming up, which I'm really, really excited about. But other than that, follow me at SuperFitCosplay on Instagram and now TikTok, and I will catch you next time.